Hello, everyone. Good evening. Thank you so much for joining us again today. It is Tech Clinic, and at Tech Clinic, what we do is we bring tech to you in a demystified way. That is for people who are beginners, people who are looking to transition from other career paths to tech. So, this is what we do at Tech Clinic. And Tech Clinic is proudly brought to you by Tower Africa. We are an organization whose mission is to empower young women and girls, helping them to excel in their careers as business and businesses. We do this through our webinars, our seminars, our trainings. And then today we are going to be having another edition of Tech Clinic. So today on Tech Clinic, we are talking product management. And with her, we have with us in the house Goodness Ehizode. She is a senior product growth manager, and she's going to be taking us through this session today. So if you've just joined us, please you can go to the comment section, tell us where you are joining from, and then what you're expecting from this webinar while we make welcome our guests. Hello, Goodness. Welcome.
Hi, Chidima. Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It's so good to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. We appreciate. All right, so we would like to meet you. Can you tell us about you? What would you like us to know about you?
Okay. All right. So my name is Goodness Ehizode. I currently work as a growth manager at FinCode. At FinCode, where I am launching like several tech initiatives. What we do at FinCode is that we provide tools for organizations, mostly fintech tools for organizations, so that they don't have to build from scratch and they don't have to go through the technological processes of building from scratch. So yeah, before FinCode, I worked at Clafia as a product manager, pioneer product manager, where I built their products from scratch and helped them get up to 5,000 users in a short period. It's about 3 months. From there, I was promoted to chief product officer, and I led several initiatives too at Clafia, including the health savings accounts, which is basically what they where you can save for healthcare and get interest over time. Yeah, so I was also able to pivot the business to like B2B, where we also started to open our APIs to other fintechs and health techs who wanted to like provide healthcare for their customers too as well. So yeah, I mean, when I'm not doing product management, I'm also training people, like helping them get into product management. I've trained so far over 100 product managers, most of whom have gotten jobs across the globe too as well. I'm training, I'm teaching. I really, really love to teach. It's something I'm very passionate about. And then when I'm not doing that as well, I am also running my podcast. So I have a podcast where there's like open source product management education too as well. I invite other product managers and people in the tech space to just come share their story and inspire other people too as well. So yeah, that's what I do. Yeah, Chidima.
Great. So audience, you see we have a very great portfolio in our midst this evening. And so it means for anybody who's looking to go into product management, you already have answers already. All right, so this is where we will now give the floor to Goodness to give us all she has for us today. Over to you, Goodness. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. So, basically, I'm talking about the basics of product management, everything you need to know as a product manager, as a beginner in product management. What is product management? What do we do? How do you transition into product management? And what's the day-to-day life of a product manager? So, the first thing I'll do is talk about products, right? What is products? That's the first thing. Now, in terms of products is anything that is used, that is experienced. When we think of products, I want you to open your mind and think about it. The phone you're using is a product. The apps that you use is a product. The experience of your daily life, you use products every day. The chair I am sitting down on is a product. Um, the when I'm going out and I have to use the public transport, that is also product too as well. The experience is a product. So there are so many things that when you think of everything as a product, it kind of like opens your mind and you start to see, okay, how can this product be built better? How can the experience of this product be a lot better? So that's what it helps you to do. So it reminds me of the time when I used to buy Pringles, and when I basically buy Pringles, I put my hand inside of the Pringles, and my hand would get stuck in the Pringles, right? That was bad product experience. Other times there's this Maggi where you buy the Maggi and then you try to break the Maggi, and it's so hard for you to break it. Now that is also a bad product experience, because if you know that your customers who are mostly women who are in the kitchen, you know that you should basically know they don't have to go to the gym before they're able to break your Maggi. There was a particular water as well that if you wanted to drink it, you have to use all the force in your. So those are examples of product experiences that were not so great, right? So when we talk about products, it's not just digital products. We are also talking about physical products. We are talking about FMCG products too as well, right? So you have to think about how can one make the experience better. That's where the product manager now comes in. So I'll assume that this chair that I'm sitting on, the first iteration of the chair was the first version of the chair was maybe like a small stool, and when I sit on it, when the customer sits on it or when the user sits on it, they feel okay, uncomfortable. Okay, I need somewhere to rest my back. And then the product manager goes back and now says, okay, the customer needs to rest their back, and they now develop a chair that now has a backrest. Now there may be the user is short, and then they need to be able to go up and come down, right? We now create a chair that the chair can move up, the chair can move, and they see the lever can. So those are all ways to improve product experiences, and the person who manages that is called a product manager, right? So according to AIPMM, product management is the process of conceiving, planning and developing, testing, launching and delivering and withdrawing a product in the market. It involves the end-to-end process of building and launching a product, right? So in terms of that, that is what product managers do. We make product experiences better. We make every day-to-day life of the average human being better. That's what we do. So now in building and managing a product, the goal is to ensure that the product is valuable, feasible, usable, and viable. These are like 5 things that product managers always have to put in consideration when they are building a product. Now, valuable meaning that it solves a need, that people actually want it. Sometimes startup founders obsess about their idea. It is something that feels interesting to them, but in the real sense of it, people do not want the product. So you have to ask yourself, if as a product manager, is this idea, is this solution, is this solving a real problem? Meaning that this is a problem that people actually want to pay to solve them, right? There's something that I normally say is that common demand and supply will always trump innovation. It means that if I want something, you give it to me, it's going to trump, oh, this idea is interesting, right? It's interesting, it's going to pique interest. People are going to jump on it, but the moment that they find out that it doesn't solve a problem for them, they're going to dump it. So I'm going to give a use case of when X came in. I said X. Instagram Threads. Yeah, Instagram Threads. That's the name of the app. When it first came in, it was very interesting. Everybody felt like, oh, this is the best thing after sliced bread, and they jumped on top of it, right? But the moment that they realized that it wasn't really solving any problem for them, because if you go to Instagram, the same people that are on Instagram are the same people that are on Threads. So why should I download another app to just write something I can write on Instagram? Maybe I'll just go to Canva and do one design and text and post it on my Instagram. Why should I have another app just to say the same thing, especially with the same users, the same algorithm? So you see that it wasn't exactly solving a real problem as at then. So the people that were using it, that the people that did you see the rush that was on Trends? But right now the usage is very low compared to the initial anticipation and excitement about it. So that's why we talked about your product has to be valuable, has to actually solve a need. People will get on something that's interesting, but the moment they find out that it does not solve a problem, they are going to dump it. So this is the first step for every product manager. Before I think of this solution, does it really solve a problem? What problem does it solve? Is it a problem that people would actually pay their money to solve that problem? So that's the first step. So the first step is to do your research. This solution that I have, this solution that this founder has asked me to work on to develop a product for, is this a real problem? And is it a problem that people want to solve, that problem they want to pay money to solve the problem for? So there's something I call the vitamin problem versus the painkiller problem. Vitamin versus painkiller problem. In a whole year, you can stay without taking vitamin C. Chidima, have you taken vitamin C this year? Yeah, I can't hear you.
I haven't.
You haven't, you see. So you basically did not take vitamin C because you didn't feel like you need it. But if you are having headache right now, you're going to look for paracetamol, you're going to take it. In fact, nobody will beg you, because you know that you will not be able to do anything without taking paracetamol. So that's the, you see, you want to solve a problem that is a painkiller problem versus a vitamin problem. Means is that, oh, this problem, people actually are looking forward to paying for. In fact, they're actually looking for a way to solve this problem right now. So it means that at the end of the month, when their salary comes in, they will do a budget. And out of that budget, that thing is going to be part of the things that they put in their budget. Versus a vitamin, oh, if my money is remaining, if my money is remaining, maybe I will buy it or I will not buy it, or maybe I'll solve this problem or not. You see, it means that, oh, is their leftover budget, that is where they now used to solve that problem. So that's how you weigh the kind of problem you should solve. Should I solve, follow the market? That's one thing that startup founders and product managers need to learn. You need to follow the market, right? You don't start from, oh, conceptualizing a solution and then looking for the market that is going to get that solution. No, you start from how are the people, right? What are their problems before you now profile a solution. So you don't start from the solution to the problem. You start from the problem to the solution. So you speak to the customers, you get their idea of what is the problem they are facing. This is how they are facing that problem before you now prefer a solution that solves their problem, and it has to be in such a personalized way, right? So that's one thing about feasibility and valuability. Before you develop any product, always make sure that it is product. It is valuable. It solves a problem, right? Common demand and supply will trump innovation any day. Then the next part is feasible, right? It means that it can be built. You can't conceptualize something that there is no technology right now to build it, right? So it means that you have to find out, okay, this product be built, right? And this is where you now start to involve engineers, developers. One thing I normally tell product managers is that don't wait till you are at the middle or at the end of your product development process before you start to involve product manage. Before you start to involve developers and engineers. They are not coding machines. They should be involved in the end-to-end process. So the moment that you start to conceptualize the idea and the solution, involve your engineers, involve your product, your developers in the ideation process. So while you're having your research, one engineer should be there, two engineers should be there, so that they can conceptualize and they start begin to think, because they understand the technical implementation more than you do, right? So it's always better to, an example that I've given before, which I've also written on LinkedIn, was there was a point where we're developing a product for human for the average user to be able to add beneficiaries. And one our user persona was basically a man, a typical Nigerian man. And so we assume that, okay, he wants to add his family members, which includes his wife, his children. But what if he has a girlfriend and he also wants to add as a beneficiary? Do you see that? So we now created a feature that, oh, beneficiaries can see the other beneficiary. So if Mama Chidima now sees that Valentine that is in their compound is also a beneficiary, they have caused a problem in that family. Do you see that?
Exactly.
So now, because my engineers were there from day one, when we're talking about user persona, when we're trying to understand the user, they were able to foresee that that's going to be a problem. So they now recommended that, okay, why don't we just make it that only the sponsor can see the beneficiaries, beneficiary cannot see a beneficiary. So that was the solution to that problem. Now it wasn't something that I foresee, but because I foresaw, rather, because my engineer was there from the get go. He was able to idea that could happen, and because he's a typical Nigerian man too, so he knows his people. So that was another that was another thing too as well. So now the third thing is that the product has to be usable. It means that the user experience has to be great. If you are using a product, no matter how valuable that product is, if you are spending so much time just to log in, you're going to be frustrated and you're going to end up not using the product, regardless of the value that it gives to you. So the product must be usable. The user experience has to be great. The user experience has to be excellent. So product managers are always also focusing on, okay, what's the experience for users? How are they interfacing with this product? How can we improve this experience so that they can get the best experience? So user experience is very, very key, because no matter how valuable your product is, if the user experience is terrible, people will not get to use the value. In fact, the value has degraded, right? If the user experience is bad. So usability is something that is very, very important too. Then the final thing, which I think is very, very, very important too, is viability. What does viability mean? It means that it brings profit, it brings money. So you can't be a product manager, and this is a mistake that product managers always make, is that they are always very, very concerned with user needs, and they don't know how to balance it with, okay, business needs. because the business has to make money. The reason why you're employed in the first place is so that you can make money for the company. It's money they are going to pay you. So if you are so concerned about user needs and you don't think about, okay, how can the company overall make money, even though it's not short term, long term, how can we make money? How can we make profit? So you have to balance user needs and business needs, right? If you're not at balancing user needs, you will not be able to get business needs, because people will not pay for something they're not getting great experience from. Do you see that? And also on the other end, if you are focusing so much on business on user needs, and you're not focusing on business needs, the company will fail. The company will not have money to sustain and build great products. So there has to be that balance where you're balancing both user needs and business needs, right? So who's a product manager? A product manager is the person whose job is to discover, manage, and develop and deliver the product. The product manager is involved in the end-to-end process of building and managing a product. So the product manager discovers, the product manager develops, and the product manager delivers the product, right? So a product manager is also an advocate for the user. Something that we say as Christians is that Jesus is an advocate for us, right? The product manager is an advocate for the user, is the one that just go, because sometimes founders can be so concerned about the money that they are making, right? Or what's out there, what's interesting. Sometimes they forget the focus. So it is always the product manager's role to redirect the focus and say, hey, this is what the users want, this is what they are saying. So you are always advocating for users in front of the stakeholders. So he or she stands in the gap to represent the users' needs, their problem, to other stakeholders for the purpose of providing solutions to the user. A product manager is the one who provides insight and direction to the company and the organization to increase their business value, right? A product manager is the one who understands technology and how to use it effectively to meet the user's needs and increase business value. So that's who the product manager is. Normally, the product manager is usually in the intersection between user experience, technology, and business. There's one diagram called the Venn diagram, the product manager's Venn diagram. You see a UX here, you see tech, you see product manager in the middle, and then business down. So it means that the product manager is involved in all of those processes. In terms of UX, you are concerned about, okay, what's the experience, right? How are users currently experiencing this product? Can we improve the experience? So it means that you're going to be reviewing designs and basically giving your 2 points, your 2 points, basically trying to say, okay, this experience, we can improve it better. In terms of the tech, you are saying, okay, what are we building, right? What's the technology that we are building? And in terms of business, you are saying, how can we make money as a company, even as we are solving users' needs, right? So the questions that you must be able to answer is, how valuable is this product? Does it solve a problem? Does it meet a need? Would it deliver value to its intended users? How easily can we build this product? What are the technicalities involved in bringing this product to life? And how easy is this product to use? Then how can we make money from this product? Those are the 5 key questions that you need to be able to ask as a product manager. So product management is all about bridging the world of problems, which is users' needs, and solutions and features in a product. It's like bridging. You need to find out, okay, what's the problem, and then bridge it with a solution in a product, right? So in terms of doing this, how do you think about it? How do you do this? If you had an hour to solve a problem, I'll say spend like 55 minutes to think about the problem and 5 minutes thinking about the solution. Spend an hour, that's 60 minutes. So use 55 minutes to think about the problem and 5 minutes to think about the solution. Now, because this is very, very important, the reason why it's important is so that you as a product manager can develop a product that is very, very personalized. The reason why you stay on YouTube, or you stay on Instagram, or you stay on TikTok, or you stay on Pinterest is because those products are a reflection of you. Anything you see on your timeline, your feed is you. So if you're the kind of person, who spends time on cars, you will see it there. If you're the kind of person that like gossip, we see you in gossip. So those products are a reflection of you. And how were they able to do that? Is that they're able to personalize the product and make it so sticky that you feel so connected to it. And that's the idea. Product managers want to build product that people obsess over. That's the thing, that you are obsessed, you are addicted to the product. I can tell you for sure now that some people, if they leave their phone and they don't have Instagram, they will look like they have withdrawal symptoms. Their body will be shaking. That's it. Because the product has been created in such a sticky way that you are addicted to it. It fits your lifestyle. And if you don't understand the problem enough, you'll not be able to create this kind of solution. You will just create a generic solution. So I'll give you an example. When I was working at Clafia, we know that we wanted to provide easy and accessible health care for individuals, right? Um, a core feature for that would be maybe book an appointment with a doctor and talk to them, right, virtually. But that is a generic solution. That's a generic solution. And one thing that with healthcare, when it comes to young people, we found out that young people don't really take care of their health. It is until they are dying, like they are giving up the ghosts. that's
I'm
when,
checking. Yeah.
that's when they remember they will use the hospital, or they will talk to a doctor, or they will do a test. If a young person is sick right now, trust me, they are going downstairs to the chemist to go and buy malaria drug, even
But
when
they're
they don't know
asking
that.
ChatGPT.
Or they're asking ChatGPT now that we have ChatGPT, right? So basically, right? So we understood that we saw that was an issue that we're going to have. And these young people are the ones that have money, they're the ones that can pay for our product, they're the ones that use digital products. So how did we get them to use the product? So we had to discover that what is their own problem. Now we discovered that they do not have a problem of healthcare because they don't care about their health. But one of the problems that they had was, number one, healthcare for their parents. Providing healthcare for their parents. Number one, we discovered that most of these young people were jackpying. It means that they were far away from their parents. So they could not monitor how they were receiving care. Sometimes they would send money for healthcare. The money would be used for something else. You see? So all of these were the problems of those young people. But if we say we wanted to create a generic product, we'd have just created, oh, book an appointment, we'll just stop there. But we had to understand the key problems that these are our customers face, so that we can create a solution that is personalized. So now because we knew that problem, we're now able to add features that were very specific to them. So now there's now a feature for you to join a beneficiary's call. So say your mother or your father is having a healthcare concern, and then the doctor is talking to them, you can join the call. You see that that's a very specific feature. It is not generic, right? You say, okay, maybe a feature like you can monitor how they take their drugs. You can add beneficiary. Those features are very, very specific. They are very personalized. They fit into the lifestyle of the person that's using it. So that's what understanding problems helps you do. It helps you to create features that are not just generic, but they are personalized. They fit into the lifestyle of your user. You empathize with them so much that you can envisage that this is the problem that they're most likely going to have, and develop a solution that basically fits into that. See that? So it's like on child deck, right? Let's say the average user is a young person. Let's say a girl, and she goes to Twitter and says, oh, I'm craving pepper soup. Oh, I'm craving this, right? Now she's begging, and she's begging in public. Now what the child deck now understood that, oh, that is our target user, and that is what they do. Let's give them an opportunity to beg honorably. They now
Wow.
give you pay for me feature. So instead of going to Twitter and say, oh, I'm craving pepper soup, you just carry that your pay for me link and you just send it to the person. Just go to the person's DM, my sister. Don't disgrace yourself outside. So see, do you know that if they had stopped at just creating a product where you can order food, nobody would beat them. Do you see that? But they made the product very sticky. They made the product to fit into the user's life. They understood who their target user is and their problem. So we're now able to coin a very, very personalized feature. So that's what understanding the problem helps you do. So before you jump into the solution, any Jack and Jill can form a solution. Chidima, if I ask you now, this is a problem, give me a solution. If I give you 5 minutes, you'll be able to give me a solution. So it's not hard to come up with a solution. Even the woman in the market, like the market woman, has a solution for the problem she's currently facing. So what separates us, what makes us product managers, is that we understand the problem, not just the solution. We understand the problem in such a way that we're able to create a solution that is not generic but personalized. So that's the role of product managers. Spend time understanding what is the problem. So problem perspective, right? Building a product for end users is about aligning to their pain, empathizing with their pain. Beautiful design, friendly mascots, and emoji support in the app are not enough. You have to solve an actual problem, right? So the most successful entrepreneurs are product managers, and product managers think of themselves as finders of pain, not finders of products. One of the biggest mistakes a product manager might do early in the discovery is trying to walk backward from a preconceived solution. And I've already said this before. You have a solution, you're now just looking for who you are going to force your solution, or they must like this. We will do education, we'll do educational posts. When we do education, we sensitize them. Instead of wasting time, that time that you're going to use to do sensitization, somebody has developed something that people are already looking for. So you need to understand the problem. I need to understand the problem in depth. So that's about it on who a product manager is, what we do, and how we build products. Now I'm gonna do a differentiation. Another thing that people make mistake is they don't understand the difference between a project manager, a product manager, a program manager. So I'm gonna try to make basically differentiate those things, and then we can end the call. Is that fine?
Yeah, that's fine. That's fine.
All right. All right. So a project manager is responsible for planning, executing, and overseeing the successful completion of a project. Project management is different from product managers. I see people make this mistake a lot, and it sometimes pisses me off because I'm not a project manager. Don't call me a project manager. I'm not saying what they are doing is not good, is not up to par, right? They are just different roles. And call me what I am. I'm a product manager. I'm not a project manager, right? So
Yeah.
project managers are the ones that are responsible for planning and executing and overseeing the successful completion of the project. They are mostly concerned about budgeting, timelines, and tasks. Budget, timelines, and tasks. That is their concern. And that's what they are very, very concerned with. So you see them talk about, oh, timelines. What time are you going to finish this? How much will it take us to build this? What are the blockers that we have, and all of that. Scrum masters are also examples of project managers, but they administer for they manage more Scrum projects, and they make sure that their teams are following all of the Scrum artifacts, which is basically the daily stand-ups, the all of those terminologies, right? But now program managers kind of like manage so many projects. So I'm gonna give an illustration. So let's say we are doing an MTM project fame. MTN Project Fame 2025. Right now, MTN Project Fame 2025 is the program. That is the program. Now, under MTN Project Fame 2025, we now have day one. So we have a project manager for day one. We have another project manager for day two, and for project manager for day three. Now, the role of the project manager is to make sure that each project, that is day one, day two, day three, is successful. So everything relating to that, that's the money that they're going to use to set up the stage, they make sure that the band is there, make sure that all the choir members are there, make sure that the backup singers are there, make sure that the judges are ready. The project managers are in charge of that. And now they now report to the program manager, who is in charge of the entire MTM project for 2025 projects. Do you see that? Now, it's different from what the product manager does. The product manager is most likely going to be a choir master. Do you see that? So now they are mostly concerned about the quality of the voice. Also, please sing your song, do it high like this. Soprano, do like this. The drummer, make sure you beat the butt. You see, they are more concerned about the quality of the thing that comes out.
Okay.
Do you see that? So that's what product managers do. We are concerned about the quality of the product. Is it good for users, and can they pay money for it, that we will have money? So we are concerned about the value. We are responsible for building and managing products that deliver value to customers and the business. It's different from what the project manager does. It's different from what the program manager does, which is more the, okay, let this thing be successful. Let all the planning, execution, let it go well. Let everybody be in the right places. Let us have the right tools. Let everybody do their task. Let us have money to be able to do the task. You see that? It's everything is more about execution, planning, right? Like event planners. You see the way they used to run up and down. That's what project managers do. But product managers, we are now concerned with the quality of what is being produced. Is the voice going to come out? Is the product good? What's the user experience like? Does it solve user needs? Are we making money from it? So we are more concerned with outputs, right? We are more concerned with output. We are more concerned with value, right? That's basically the differentiating factor between a project manager, a program manager, and a product manager. So in one sentence, project managers get the job done, program managers get multiple jobs done, while product managers build and deliver value. Do you see that? Very different. Very. So anybody that calls me a project manager from now on and listens to this now will give you a knock on your head.
The person deserves a knock, actually.
All right. So now there are specialized roles in product management. Specialized roles in product management. We have product owner, we have product analyst, we have product marketing manager, we have technical product manager. Now there's even AI product manager, there's growth product manager. There's so many things are coming out. So what are all of those things, right? Now the product owner is the first role that you want to know about. Product owner focuses more on the development of the product. Now, in a company where most times product managers, especially in Nigerian companies, product managers do the role of product owners, right? If you're a Nigerian company, most likely you would be a product manager and a product owner. Except maybe you're in a very structured company that they have money, you now separate it, right? But most times product managers are product owners. And I personally also recommend that product managers should do the role of product owners too. Because see, here's what they do. If a company that both of them are separate roles, the product manager gets the um, goes to do the research. They try to get the ideas from the users and say, okay, this is the problem that they are facing. Then they now say, okay, this is the feature that we are going to build to solve that problem. Now they will now take that feature, they will take it to the product owner. Now the product owner is now the one that will decide how the feature would look like. So for example, the login feature, the user should click on this, they should type their email, they should put the email must contain 8 characters, one must be a special character, one must be a caps lock, right? The one when they click on it, this is the error message that they should. So the product owner is the one that defines the acceptance criteria for every feature and make sure that everybody builds according to the acceptance criteria, to make sure that the developers are building exactly what is specified, that this is the acceptance criteria, this is how the product should look, this is how that the product owner is the one that's doing that. Do you see that? So it's kind of like different from what the product manager does, which is defining what this problem is, what the solution is, and how it's going to make money. So but what I feel is like a lot of things can be lost in communication. If a product manager comes in, when I say, oh, this is a cat, by the time I tell the 10th person, the person is telling me this is a dog. So a lot of things would have been lost in communication. So I always feel like the product manager should also be the product owner. Right? I mean, it's a debatable thing and we're in public.
Okay. But again, I feel you are right, because so that from the start, this person knows this is what I want, and then you're following
Mhm.
it as you want it. So I agree
Exactly.
with you.
Exactly. Exactly. So we have the product analyst role. The product analyst role is kind of like the person who tracks data, measures data, analyze product data. In terms of what they're analyzing, they're seeing, okay, how are users currently experiencing our product? So I'm going to give an example. There was one time we launched our app. We did a redesign of our app and then we launched it. Now, the product analyst role will be to sit down behind whatever tool most people use, Mixpanel, Amplitude. Then you start to check. It's like when the way we misbehave on earth and God is looking at up. That's the same way. So you are the product, the user is maybe they did not complete an action. We at the other end as product managers or product analysts in this point, you are looking at, okay, why did the user not complete this action? Why did they take another action? Why did they stop here? So you are gathering all that data to say 10% of our users completed the action, 20% of our users completed this action, 10% of our users say they didn't enjoy the call. Like when WhatsApp says, oh, did you have a good call? Right? Imagine you just broke your boyfriend just broke up with you and then WhatsApp ask you, how was your call?
And then you pour the frustration on WhatsApp.
Right. So basically, the product analyst job is to basically get all of those data and synthesize it so that now we can use it to make better product decisions. Okay, maybe we should make our calls better. We should do this. We should make change the design. That the product design analyst, right, does that. But in most companies, you will find that only product managers are also doing that, right? Analyst roles is mostly in specialized companies that deal with a lot of data, right, and all of that. But product managers end to end are companies normally require a product manager have data experience, which is product analyst experiences. So we have the technical product manager. This is the one who is like very, very into neck deep into technical things. They are mostly in companies like blockchain, Web3, even maybe fintech companies, because the technology to there is very specialized too as well. So these are people who are very, very technical. They understand, if I'm working in a company that does a cloud-based product like maybe AWS, I need to be technical, right? So sometimes people say that they're technical product managers. Technical product managers is not just being able to communicate and use the technology. Can you do some technical work, right? If your technical person is not around, can you take up some of the tasks, right? So basically, that's technical product managers are very, very niched, and they're very, very technical too as well. Then we have growth product managers. Product managers are more concerned about growth. They work hand in hand with marketing teams. They do a lot of experiments. So, for example, on Child Deck now, it's when you go on Child Deck and you buy rice, you buy rice, they will most likely recommend moi moi to you, or they will recommend Coke to you. Now, the role of the product manager is to make sure that that kind of thing is happening. There is like a funnel. There's an acquisition, activation, retention, referral, and revenue funnel. That so the growth product manager does several experiments end to end to make sure that people continue on that funnel, right? And there's no churning and all of that. So basically, there's something we call product led growth, where you use the product to sell the product. It's like when you get to a supermarket and you see toothbrush and toothpaste close to each other. If you buy toothpaste and you see toothbrush, you most likely want to buy the toothbrush. This together. So it is something like that. It's such a psychology where the product is the one selling itself instead of you doing external marketing to bring more people, right? So the product does sell itself. That's a more growth product management. So yeah, then we have AI product managers. These are specialized product managers responsible for building, scaling, and managing products or features that leverage artificial intelligence and machine learning. They like bridge the gap between technical AI teams, business stakeholders, and AI-driven solutions. Right. So basically, in terms of hierarchy, how do you grow in the product management role? You can move from junior product manager or associate product manager to product manager, maybe from there move to senior product manager, from there to lead product manager, to head of product, product director, vice president of product, chief product officer, or even the CEO, right? The structure of hierarchy is different for different organizations depending on your side. Like for me at Clafia, I moved from product manager to senior product manager, and then chief product officer in a short period of time. So if I was in a big company, I most likely use maybe 10 years or 20 years before I get there, or maybe less, right? So basically the structure depends on the end to end, the organization end to end. So this is where I draw the curtain. Um, okay, just one more thing. Soft skills that are necessary for product managers. You need to have communication skills. It's so important. You need to have emotional intelligence. Oh my god, because you're dealing with people, and 99% of your work is done through other people, right? You are not the one coding, you're doing most of you're not the one designing, most of your work is done through other people. So emotional intelligence and communication skills are things that every product manager needs to learn. There's also leadership, problem solving. All of those are skills that product managers need to learn. So before you become a product manager, there are some self-assessments that you need to do. Why do I want to do product management? What is the most interesting thing or appealing thing about product management for me? What seems to be like the most challenging thing about product management? I mean, with all the talks I've talked, you should start hearing challenges. How do I plan to deal with these challenges? Are there any specific industries I'd like to build a career in? What type of product manager do I want to become? What do I want to achieve right now being a PM? And what do I want to achieve in 5 to 10 years as a PM? I mean, these are questions that you can ask yourself if you want to become a product manager. So I draw the curtain here, Chidima.
Thank you so much, Goodness. We've been speaking with Goodness, and she's been talking to us about product management. We actually have some questions here.
Okay.
Something I want to ask. So, while you were speaking, I kind of discovered most of these products will have to be digital products.
Mm-hmm.
So are there also, do project managers also manage physical products? Although I know that we are in a world of tech, so most of the products will have to be digital. And so now this question is for someone who is new to tech. So
Mm.
where is their place if they can handle those digital stuffs? Are there other physical products they could manage?
So the truth is, we have product managers everywhere. right? It's just that in different industries, they might not be called a product manager. For example, if you have a business, you're a small business owner, I can beat my chest that you're doing the role of a product manager, right? You just don't know, right? So in FMCG companies, to that companies that do fast movable and consumable goods, that's the likes of Unilever and all of those things, we have product managers there. Maybe they are called quality managers or quality assurance managers, right? They might not be, their title might not be product managers per se, but we have people who are already filling these roles, which is what's the role? Basically, they're deciding, okay, this is what we need to build, and this is how we need to build it, to give us money, right? And to build it in such a quality way that people would buy them. And so basically, yeah, we have product managers across industry, not just for digital products alone, right? For physical products to hardware products, even cars. Tesla have product managers, right? And it's not for their app, it's for their car. Toyota has product managers, and all of that. One of the first adopters of Scrum and Agile was Toyota in the US. So basically, they have product managers there.
Okay, thank you so much. I believe that answers that. So, talking about skills that you will need, you mentioned communication, emotional intelligence. I think I want to add critical thinking because the part that got me interested, the part where you said if you have an hour, you should use about 55 minutes to think of the problem and then use 5 minutes to think of the solution. That goes a long way to show how it's important to think critically while managing a product. So I would
Mm-hmm.
like to ask the most challenging product you have managed.
Mm-hmm.
Now, by answering this, I want our audience to know the kind of challenges they might encounter if they decide to go in or pick up product management roles. So I don't know if that's fine for you to talk about. So just like to hear.
Yeah. So the most challenging product that we manage, of course, it's, it's the Clafia web app, right? So one of the key challenges, I think there are two challenges that any person would face when being a product manager. One of it would be understanding what to build from what users say, right? Sometimes users can say something and they don't mean it. So how do you know what you should work
Like
on?
the issue of
So
the WhatsApp.
yeah. So, for example, I heard of a story where there was a company that was doing milkshakes or coffee or something, and then they wanted to sell more. They started to ask questions. What do you want? And people say, "Oh, I want strawberry. I want this. I want that. I want that." By the time they launched it, nobody actually bought it. Now, what they found out was that number one, the people that were buying the product, where they were going on a long journey, right? Number two, they were driving alone. Number three, right? They were driving on a long journey and they were driving alone. So what they discovered was that the coffee or the milkshake was people were not buying it because of the taste. They were buying it to keep themselves busy. Do you see that? So they were going on a long journey and they were driving alone. So it was some sort of way to keep themselves company while, oh, I'm driving on this long distance. So you have to be able to decipher, okay, what's the problem? And that's where it's sometimes what customers say might not be helpful. Imagine the first time they were developing cars, people said they wanted faster horses, like faster horses. So what does faster horses mean? Doesn't mean I'll put chuku on the horse's leg to be fast, right? So you have to be able to translate. Okay, what can customers say? What are they not saying? That's why you need to be curious, right? You have to ask questions. Why? Right? And that's the superpower of product manager because people will tell you something and they mean something else. So you have to be need to be able to uncover what they really mean. Right? It's been doing deep thinking, it's been doing critical thinking, and asking more questions. It's trying to understand, okay, there's something we call person analysis. What's the political, the economical, the legal, the social, environmental, so things that can affect your products, right? For example, the cultural part of that one where I told you that, oh, young people want to provide healthcare for their parents. One thing I noticed that if I launch that product in the US or if I launch it in Europe, it will not sell because people when their parents are sick, they take them to, when they are getting old, they take them to old people's home.
Yes.
They don't do black tax like us here that, oh, when we are budgeting for the month, we are budgeting for family members. They don't do that there. So you see that as a sociological problem. It's a problem that it only exists here in Nigeria and Africa. If I take that solution and I go and sell it abroad, nobody's going to buy that product. So these are all the factors that you need to put in place to when you're analyzing customer responses. And observation is one of the best ways to actually understand users and their behavior.
Interesting. Thank you so much for that. And then what you said also reminds me of what you also said, and which is understanding the market. But you remember clearly you said you don't find the solution and then go to the market. You sit down, analyze the market, understand it before you provide your solution. So that's very
Yeah,
important for a product manager to be aware
I'm
of.
glad you brought
I
that.
also like to ask, do you think product management can be a side hustle or it's something somebody should go into full time? Because with everything you said, I mean, it's a lot. It's something someone should actually give their life to.
If you want to do it as side hustle, that one concern you, right? I feel like by the time you get into the job, you see how very tasking it is. Even you, nobody will tell you that, oh, you need to concentrate on these things for you to actually do work, right? Do good work. If you're the kind of person that wants to do shabby work, maybe you can get through with doing product management as a side hustle, or maybe you can do specific tasks. For example, on what Upwork, you can just set specific product management task, right? You're not doing the product management end to end, but they can say, okay, write a product requirement document, write a this, right? Monitor this product, right? Okay, work on the proof of concept, do your user research, give us data. They can give you specific tasks like that, right? In those kind of cases, you can do product management as a side hustle, but you're not doing the end-to-end delivery of the product. You see that you're only doing specified tasks that the person or the customer on Upwork specifies for you to do, right? So, but product management, that's the idea of ideating, the concept of ideating, delivering a product, seeing it from beginning to end is a full-time job. It's such a consuming job. It consumes not just your time, it consumes your soul and your mind too as well. So basically, if you can do it, fine, but it's not something that I personally have been able to achieve.
Thank you so much for being honest. So the final question now is, let's imagine somebody in the audience. She has listened to all you said today and she feels like, oh, product management is something I would love to do. I love being critical. I love being innovative and the rest. So this person now is a beginner. What would you advise this person to do as the first step? The first step to getting into product management
Right.
as a good, yeah.
All right, the first step to get into product management is deciding if product management is for you, right? If it's something you want to do. I sometimes feel like some people can have low hanging fruits in other careers, but because they hear product management, they just want to do product management, or they think like it's the cheapest thing, or is the easiest way to get big tech money, right? There's something we call Ishe Kekere Owo Ronaldo. When you're working small but you're getting big money, right? It's not an avenue for that. So you have to decide what, if product management is what you want to do, because there are other several things in tech. There's project management, there's UX design, right? So what I normally used to, if people when people come to reach out to me like that, I say, okay, go and watch a YouTube video on a day in my life as a product manager. When you watch like 10 of them, you now decide, okay, is this what I want to do? Will I find this interesting? Right? And then do that. Then when you do that, basically the next step for you will be to take a course. Now you can either do this self-paced, or you can go through a product management institute or a school or private coaching, whichever one. If you're going to do it self-paced, you can recommend that ChatGPT gives you topics, right, for you to do product management, learn product management end to end, and product management. And ChatGPT can give you like a syllabus, and you start to do your self-paced course. You got start going to research online, or even ChatGPT can even give you the resources too that you can watch for each of the topic. But it's harder, right? It's harder to do it alone. It's harder to do it on your own, because there are a lot of things you might questions that you might need to ask. You need to have context, right? See the way I'm giving examples that I'm teaching, I'm giving a lot of examples. I'm telling you how this applies to me, how it has applied to me before. You might not get those opportunities. So it's usually best to like go through a product management school. And I do have a private coaching school, like a private product management coaching session too as well. So we're currently on the third cohort right now. So yeah, there's that. So then you go through the course, and then the next thing will be for you to start working on portfolios, right? How you do that is to basically start working on self-paced projects, right? Your own projects, and that begins to build your portfolio. You find internships and probably land your first job. So yeah, that's how it works.
It all begins with decision. So if there's anyone in our audience wanting to go into product management, you've heard from Goodness today. Well, no career path is easy actually. So it's even important to make a decision. and
Okay.
then you have passion for what you are doing for, because I feel like when it gets tough, it's the passion that will keep you going, that will
Yeah.
keep you staying in that career path. So thank you so much, Goodness. We really appreciate and
Thanks for having me.
grateful for your coming.
Hmm.
And I want our viewers to have some take home. In product management, you have to internalize your solutions. You don't just give a generic solution. I think that from what Goodness said. She also mentioned that you have to understand the market, understand the product as well before providing solution to the people. So you don't just think of a solution and then you're not looking for who needs a solution. Find out the problem first before doing all of that. And so I think this is where we will draw the curtain. We have some power comments here from Edith. Say balance user needs and balance business needs. So as a product manager, you're not just thinking of your user, you're also thinking of how to make returns for whichever company you're working from. Said find out if the problem you are solving is something that can be solved using existing technology. And then finally, this one says, speak to the customers, get to know their problems before developing the product. Very important key takeaway. Once again, thank you so much, Goodness, for joining us. We appreciate your coming.
Thank you for
And we
having me.
like, thank you so
All
much.
right.
Bye.
Have a lovely day.
And you too. Have a wonderful weekend.
Bye.
Bye. So this is where we draw the curtain for our session today. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining us. And we have one more edition of Tech Clinic, and it's going to be next week, Friday, same time, 5 p.m. West African time. And we would want you to join us. Also, till I come your way next time, I am Chidima
Hmm.
Maduka, and I am glad to have hosted this program this evening. Until we come your way another day, stay amazing and bye for now.